Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Galen Snyder Show. I'm Vince Reed. Our show brought to you by Aria Health, your friends and neighbors here in Bucks County, and ready to help you when you are in need. Well, we're moving along to the semifinal round of the PIAA District 1 Class Quad A playoffs, as Pennsbury now will take on another team like them that's 11-1, and that would be someone from the Suburban 1 League. And a little bit different as far as the conference goes. They're going to be in the American Conference, and that's going to be Upper Dublin. The winner of that conference, winning all 7 games in the league, going undefeated there, only losing once in the year, and that now is 11-1 mark. And of course, that one loss came to a team that certainly Pennsbury knows well. Abington, second game of the year, that was early in the season. Abington beat Upper Dublin by the score of 27-20. So that was a good ball game as well, and they lost that one only by 7. And of course, Pennsbury comes in here as well with the co-championship in the Suburban 1 League National Conference with North Penn. And of course, they are now coming in also at 11-1, having won their last ball game as well. So these two teams have taken care of business so far, and they meet in the semifinal round. The other semifinal, of course, is going to go with the number 1 seed, and that's going to be Coatesville taking on a team that they know very well in Westchester. I should say Downingtown East. They disposed of Westchester Henderson. Downingtown East, the team that gave them fits a little bit, and that good ball game first time they played, 15-9, Coatesville won. So that should be an interesting game as well, as we're our game here coming your way here at Pennsbury again, because they are the higher seed. They'll get their 3rd home game in a row here in this playoff tournament. So that's a good thing to have for you as well. And Coach, let's look back a little bit to last week's ball game and tell us a little bit about your thoughts about the way that ball game went. Anything surprise you, or anything go along the kind of the paths that you expected in that game?
Well, you had a game there. It was very tight at halftime. Both teams, it was 14-14. And, you know, we knew Garnet Valley was going to have a tough defensive front. The front 8 was going to be physical, active, moving around a lot, stem to a lot of different things. We also knew offensively, you know, they were a ball control offense. You know, it's the type of thing where you can't just haphazardly blitz them, or guys have to understand what their responsibilities are, because it's an option-oriented offense as well. So we knew it was going to be a good battle, and it was for the first half. And I thought, you know, we came out at halftime and we made it a little bit. We switched from the I, at least for one possession, to the wing T. We ended up eating up like 8 minutes of the clock, and Josh Leon stepped in and did a great job and kicked the 39-yard field goal for us. And to get some points out of that possession was really key. Of course, in the fourth quarter, things totally turned around for us too. I think it was a residual effect of us. You know, I think offensively we went back to the I again, and Charlie Snorway was able to, you know, pop a long run for us. Right. And then, you know, defensively, I felt like you know, we clamped down pretty successfully on what they had done to us early on.
I know you had mentioned to me down on the field. I mentioned that during the course of the ball game that you were going to have Mike Alley. You thought there was a possibility for him to be able to go out and take a few quarterback sneaks when you needed it. Any surprise that he went 57 yards on the one and busted it all the way? Really? I was surprised, you know, because going through there, I thought, well, it looked like there were guys around him, and then all of a sudden he came out of the pack and he just took off.
Well, no, not really. I did think we could break something like that, because you know, we had all talked about, the coaches, we all thought, you know, we could do something like that, because number 1, our offensive line, and number 2, Mike's a really good inside runner. I think you know, he was in the Con League, and he used to run a lot of midline zone, which requires the runner or the quarterback to run basically in between the tackles, in between the guards. Yeah. So we knew Mike had that ability. He's a big, strong kid. So if you combine the offensive line with a big, strong quarterback, you know you can do that.
Yeah, you're able to do it certainly when you needed a yard or two a few times. But it was nice to see him actually break one out there and did a real nice job. He really did. Before you knew it, he was ahead of everybody, and nobody could stop him. When you look at the team, the way they're playing here into the playoffs, you've gotten some wins. Now you're again flying high once more. Your thoughts about coming up to a ball game now that you're as deep as the semifinal here in the district, with a team that also only has one loss on their schedule so far?
I mean, we're excited to be here. You know, you know, it's a long road getting to this point. You know, you really start back in January in the off season with with the weight room, and it goes throughout the entire year and into the summer with the passing scrimmages and all those types of things. And you go to camp and you play the whole season. So to get to the district semifinals, it's a long road, but one we're happy to be at this stage. Of course, you know, a team like Upper Dublin, they're doing the same types of things to get their team to this level too. They're investing in countless hours, and a lot of hard work goes into it. So you got two teams who are probably pretty excited to be here in the district semis, and you know, ready to get after one another.
All right, we're going to look a little closer here this upcoming ball game of the semifinal round with Pennsbury entertaining Upper Dublin, coming your way right after these messages.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
If you are looking for a car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go for the best deals in Bucks County for all your new pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs. Go to Faulkner Auto Group. It's always Faulkner, to be sure. Go online to faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, it's Faulkner, to be sure, for all your new cars or trucks. 4427 Street Road in Trevose. Faulkner, to be sure.
Hi, this is Congressman Mike Fitzpatrick, and I hope you're enjoying tonight's game. As we gear up for another campaign here in the 8th Congressional District, there are some things that always remain the same, and that's remembering where you came from. I'm proud to say that I was born and raised here in Lower Bucks and attended local schools. That's why I will never forget our community's needs, and will continue to fight for programs like help for flood victims along the Neshaminy Creek, preserving historic land and open space, and bringing the National Veterans Cemetery to Bucks County. As your congressman for the 8th Congressional District, I can promise you one thing, that I will never forget my roots. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy tonight's game. Paid for by Fitzpatrick for Congress.
Landolfi's Deli in Yardley at 90 West Afton Avenue in the Yardleyville Square. This beautiful new eat-in deli and restaurant is open 7 days from 8 a.m., serving breakfast, eggs, omelet, breakfast sandwiches, even breakfast burritos. And of course, Landolfi's famous hoagies, specialty sandwiches, panini sandwiches, and fresh deli wraps. Landolfi's Deli at 90 West Afton Avenue open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call 215-321-4590.
Hi, this is Merrill Reese, and since 1986, McCaffrey's Supermarket has been a real supermarket experience and a very proud member of our community. Through good times and bad times, Jim McCaffrey and his family have been there to assist our neighbors when they needed help, whether it's helping flood victims, raising funds for the American Cancer Society, or supporting the local Little League teams. You can count on McCaffrey's to be there. McCaffrey Supermarkets, 635 Heacock Road in Yardley, in the village of Newtown, at 2890 South Eagle Road, and also in Princeton and West Windsor.
The Pennsbury Football Parents Club reminds you to come out and support the Falcons. They'll be selling Pennsbury football merchandise at every home game. And if you can't make it out to the game, remember you can listen to it live on 1490 AM WBCB or watch the Falcons video stream live every game at WBCB1490.com.
And we're back once more with the Galen Snyder Show as we get ready for our ball game tonight, just moments away, with the Pennsbury Falcons playing host to Upper Dublin, and that'll be, of course, for the semifinals. So we're right to move into the district championship ball game. That'll be coming up next week, and that will be, of course, at a neutral site. As far as that goes, we'll look at some of the guys so far for them who have done a real good job. And offensively, one of them you look at is the quarterback, Ryan Stover, has over 2,100 yards when it comes to passing this year, has 21 TDs and also 9 interceptions. He has scored 3 touchdowns rushing along the way, but he's done a nice job in throwing the football for this ball club this year.
He's a real good quarterback. He's the coach's son. He's a big, tall kid. You know, I would say he's a. Although they run a spread offense, he's more of your classic quarterback, drop back quarterback type of build and accuracy and how he throws and all that. So he's a very good football player.
You know, when you look at him and you really look at him stats-wise, he comes to mind right away. Of course, he's the quarterback. He's got a lot of stats. The other two guys, and it seems like these three seem to be the ones that you really got to worry about because they have their hands in so much of the offense for this team. And one of them being, of course, a guy who has over 1,000 yards, and that's Khalif Lee, and he has 20 TDs so far this year. The other one also is John Lee. He has 838 yards and 9 touchdowns. But if you look at the stats from game to game, that trio is a huge part of their offense, those three.
Sure, absolutely. They've played very well offensively this year. They've scored a lot of points. Those three guys, plus a receiver, a big tall receiver kid that we'll get to. Those guys have done a tremendous job for them, and I think the coaching staff does an excellent job in running a variety of different formations and making you prepare for both. The spread.
Right.
Then they'll tighten up. They'll come into some close sets and they'll run the ball like they did against Council Rock North as well. So. They're a very well coached team. Their kids play with a lot of spirit. They run around on defense, so they're a good ball club.
Compared to, say, some of the teams you've faced so far, when you look at them size-wise, especially in the lines, are they comparable to some of the ball clubs that you have played?
I mean, I think that the closest team to them in what they sort of look like on the field might be like an Abington.
Right.
Like an Abington. Stylistically, they're probably closer to like a Council Rock North.
Right, exactly. What they run and how they go about it. The guys I looked at and seeing what they're doing defensively for this team are the likes of Henry Weinbrake. He seems to come in and he's always in the news as far as being one of their top defensive guys. Leads the team with 105 tackles on the year. You got some others though. We got Stacy Gardner with 77 tackles and another guy up here, and that's Matt Thompson with 53 and Thomas Henning with 39, but it seems like those are the guys, and Evan Scott has 49, and those are the guys that seem to be in a lot on the plays for this ball club.
Yeah, defensively, they're going to give us an 8-man front and then some, but their basic offensive package is, they run an odd stack type of defense, which we haven't seen much of. Probably the last team to run that against us was first scrimmage, which was Perkiomen Valley. Right. So that'll be a different look for us to see this week. Like I said, they run the ball well. They might not be the biggest defense, but watching them play in some of their films, they were active. So they're going to be, they'll present some challenges for us.
Where do you think, games that you watch or films that you watch of this ball club, what's the toughest part of their defense?
Well, I just think that they have some good athletes who will run the football, and they're scrappy. I think that's probably the way I would describe them.
One of the things, of course, that they were looking at is last year they were getting ready for what they thought would be a nice year this season. They turned things around toward the end of last year, and of course they built on that and have it going now to where they come into the semifinal round. Maybe certainly one of those teams. They're a number 6 seed, but I think everybody kind of felt that it was kind of surprising that this ball club got this far.
Maybe because they're coming out of the American Conference. But hey, to their credit, they went out. They beat
a good Ruston team.
They did. They beat Council Rock North in the beginning, and everyone knows what type of team with McElwain that they have. And then they beat Ruston, who we faced a couple of years back here. It was a tough, hard-nosed B&T team. So they definitely earned their spot in the semis here. And we'll see how it goes. All
right, we're going to look at the Pennsbury Ball Club a little bit closer right after these messages.
Achieving what you want demands the right game plan. When you team up with PNC, you get the tools and know-how you need to get where you want to go. Whether it's buying a new home, sending your kids off to college, or retiring the way you want, PNC is here ready to help you achieve your financial goals. To discover all the ways PNC can help, stop by any branch or visit PNC.com. PNC for the achiever in you. PNC Bank, member FDIC. Princeton University football, affordable family fun for everyone at one of the nation's finest on-campus football stadiums. Get your 2014 tickets now as the Tigers defend their Ivy League championship. The Tigers set Ivy League records in both scoring offense and total defense in 2013. And 9 All-Ivy selections returned this season, including Quinn Epperly, the reigning Offensive Player of the Year, and named to this year's Walter Payton Award watch list, along with All-Ivy defensive standout Anthony Gaffney. Tickets are on sale now for all 5 home games starting Saturday, September 27th under the lights against Davidson. Ivy League foes Brown, Dartmouth, Penn, and Harvard visit Tiger Stadium in 2014. All single game tickets just $10 and season tickets for all 5 home games only $30. Group and youth tickets also available. For more ticket information, visit GoPrincetonTigers.com. That's GoPrincetonTigers.com. Princeton University Football. Affordable family fun for everyone. I'm Merrill Reese to tell you about our good friends at the Revere Ristorante Italiano in nearby Ewing Township at 802 River Road. I can tell you that from South Philadelphia to New York's Mulberry Street, there's no better Italian cuisine than that served at the Revere. Start your meal with one of their great appetizers or salads. Entrees include outstanding veal dishes, fresh seafood daily, excellent steaks and chops, homemade pasta dishes, daily specials, and much more. You can also enjoy their bar area, where on most weekends, entertainment is offered. The Revere also does off-premise catering and can accommodate private parties for any affair, including business functions. Call the Revere Ristorante Italiano for more information and reservations at 609-882-6365, 882-6365. The Revere Ristorante Italiano open Monday through Friday for lunch and 7 days for dinner at 802 River Road, right off the Wilbertha Road exit on Route 29 in nearby Ewing Township.
Oh, the corner kick's right to Chris. He's got a shot. Oh, no.
It happens fast, so we'll treat you fast. Introducing Rothman Orthopedic Urgent Care, where you're seen without an appointment by a Rothman orthopedic specialist. Fast, any day of the week.
Okay. Easy with his leg.
Rothman Orthopedic Urgent Care, now in Marlton, New Jersey, with more locations to come. It happens fast, we'll treat you fast. Rothman Orthopedic Urgent Care. See RothmanInstitute.com.
Experience the Volkswagen love by visiting Volkswagen of Langhorne, located at 1862 East Lincoln Highway, minutes away from Interstate 95. Family owned and operated for over 20 years, Volkswagen of Langhorne is located in the heart of Bucks County. As the leader in customer satisfaction in both sales and service departments, they provide the finest automotive experience to you, our neighbors. Visit Volkswagen of Langhorne today to see and drive the latest selection of new and certified pre-owned Volkswagens. Be sure to also take a test drive in some of the newest models available, such as the all-new GTI. Start experiencing Volkswagen of Langhorne today online at vwoflanghorne.com. That's vwoflanghorne.com.
And we're back once again with the Galen Snyder Show. I'm Vince Reed, and we're brought to you by ARIA Health, your friends and neighbors here in Bucks County, who are there for you when you need them. Coach, let's talk a little bit about your ball club. And your ball club, of course, has come along nicely. I think at the beginning of the season, there were a lot of people that were thinking that this could be a team that could make a nice deep run. I think you're showing that here with this ball club. So I think really in some ways, no surprises. As a matter of fact, I'll go back and mention that a few years ago, you mentioned to me that this crop that you would have here, the kids that are on this team, a lot of them still underclassmen, would be some of the best that you're going to have, team-wise that you've had so far here. And certainly when you look at it, I think it's true. You've watched them grow and come up to this point, and you've taken them on from that point on, and you felt they were going to be good, and these kids turned out to be good.
They have. They've, we've got some work yet to do, no question about it. But, so far they've, passed about just about every test coming through. So, like I said, we're excited about being in the district semis. We're looking forward to Friday night. The kids have put a lot of work and time and energy into it, and of course this week we braved the cold.
Yeah. Practices,
you're out there for about 2.5 hours in some not too pleasant weather, but what are you going to do? You got to do it because Friday night's game is going to be cold, so you got to be ready for it. You got to be prepped for it. You can't spend all your time in the gym and then get out there on Friday night and not be ready to go. So it's been a tough week from that standpoint, but a good week, and we're ready to go.
I noticed one thing about when we talked to some of the ball players here at Pennsbury this year, and you talk to them and you tell them, they had a good game, especially the offensive guys who rack up the yards and maybe get some touchdowns along the way. But one thing they are proud of, and boy, they make you sure the fact that they're not just there to carry the ball. They're proud of the fact that they can block. and they do blocking for one another. This is a very unselfish group as far as that goes. As far as carrying the ball, it seems it doesn't matter to them because they'll take care of the other part of the game. They have to.
Well, we have some really good offensive linemen. We have some other guys who we ask to block, including receivers and backs and things. And probably the biggest part about it is we have some very unselfish, actually, skill guys, like a guy like Charlie Snorway. Charlie's about as humble of a kid for someone of his ability that you're going to find in high schools these days.
Right.
He just really is. I mean, everybody likes Charlie. Everybody around school likes Charlie. He's got a great attitude. He's a humble kid. And he's a really outstanding football player. So sometimes you don't see those two things go hand in hand, but you do in Charlie. So no one has a problem if you give the ball to Charlie 30 times and they block for him because they understand what kind of kid he is. In the same vein, we have a quarterback like Mike Alley, who's just a great leader, who's excited for every kid when every kid on the team does well. You couldn't ask for a guy who, again, in a position like quarterback, who, let's be honest, most quarterbacks, they want to throw the ball.
Yeah.
They want to throw the ball. That's why they're quarterbacks. And when Mike does throw the ball, he throws the ball very effectively. But when he's not throwing the ball, he's doing the other great things that you need a quarterback to do, which is to provide leadership and toughness and enthusiasm and support for his teammates. So, Mike's doing all those things.
One of the things, as you mentioned that, is I mentioned a couple of weeks ago during the course of a game, we were getting into the fourth quarter of play, and you had another touchdown in a play that went really well. He came to the side, and I've seen him do this before. He came to the side to just about every one of those linemen and every one of those backs. He had a word for him. He tapped him on the shoulder, tapped him on the helmet, and came to the sideline and let them know that, they were doing a job. And I said right there, I said, that shows you the leadership and the kind of guy he is. He said, he went down the line just to, congratulating his guys on what they did.
Well, true leadership is something that it's difficult. You can do some things to try to encourage it, but it's difficult to totally teach. I mean, it's got to be in a person to have that.
Right.
And when I was growing up, when you were growing up, if you looked at the quarterbacks, that was like a prerequisite. And if you watch quarterbacks in the NFL or in college, they had number one thing was being a great leader because they recognized the value of the position. Today, you can tell in the NFL the guys who are the great leaders versus the guys who are not, who might have a big arm and might be a great athlete. You can tell the guys who are the great leaders.
Yeah.
Mike has that for us. Mike's a great leader. Mike does a great job for us, so that's very helpful.
And as I said, you get a chance to talk to these kids, you'll find out exactly what they're made of, and boy, they've been really outstanding. And that goes for the guys on the defensive side of the ball too. We've had them play extremely well this year again on the defense. Of course, one of the guys, Rob Daly, had himself a big night. Took an interception back 30 yards for one TD. He got himself another interception as well in that ball game. But everybody has been playing well. The linebackers, the line, and you take a look at what these guys are doing. Your defense and your offense, they just seem to coincide with one another. They are pulling when they're not on the field for the other guy, and at the same time, they give it their all no matter who's out there.
Well, we talked about it early in the season that we felt like we were getting good production out of our offense, defense, and special teams, all three phases. And, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to keep moving forward. You're going to need to do well in all three phases to move on, because at this level, look, last week we were facing a team that was 9-2. This week it's an 11-1 team.
Right.
Next week it could be an undefeated team if we get through this week. So every team you face are really good football teams, and when you face really good football teams, it requires you to be solid in all areas. And when you face teams that maybe aren't as good, you can be deficient in one area or two areas and still get away with a victory. But once you face these good teams, you got to get it done offensively, defensively, and special teams.
Well, and you, of course, know all about the teams that are going to be playing for the other half of this bracket to try to get to the championship game. Coatesville, you played against them. You went down there and did your business down there against them. You played against the good, really the good Downingtown East ball clubs that they had. They had some outstanding ball clubs as well. And, of course, they're there again. So I would imagine, this game, probably, I would think that for you and your ball club, doesn't matter, you know, as long as you win, you don't care which one of those is the winner, you know they're both going to be good.
Right, and to be honest with you, as you know, I mean, it really is important to take one game at a time because there's no guarantees of another game.
Right.
So all we've been focused on is the fact that, you know, we're playing an 11-1 Upper Dublin team, a good team, a well-coached team, an explosive offensive team, a scrappy defense. You know, we're going to play them here at Falcon Field. This is definitely our seniors' last game at Falcon Field. This is the last time they'll be there. We're getting ready for it. It's going to be a cold night. You know, it's going to be, we'll be out on the, you know, what was a little bit muddy, the field
Frozen
now
tundra
will be a little bit frozen over. But no, I mean, that's really all we've been, all honestly, all we've been focused on. And you know, coming out with a victory this week, and then we'll deal with next week.
And you look at the game here this week, and like we said, you got all the elements certainly of this ball game. You've got a guy like Stover who likes to throw the ball around a little bit. He's got two good running backs. You've got the fact that Pennsbury basically is going to be a ground attack team, and they've got all the weapons. They've got the three guys who can run it. Now they also have their quarterback who also showed, of course, during the course of the season, and last game in particular, how well he can run it. Ran it for 116 yards there for Mike Alley in that ball game as well. And of course, they just have an all-around good ball club. Both these teams are good. To get this far, you've got to be pretty good. And certainly both Upper Dublin and Pennsbury deserving of being here in this game. And of course, it's nice to see too, because you're going to have a team you know coming from the Suburban 1 League, although one is the National, which is Pennsbury, one is the American, which is Upper Dublin, against the team that's coming from the Chesmont League. And these have been the two leagues that, when you take a look back the last few years, when you come down to it, really when you come down to it, these are the two leagues that have been predominant in this championship games.
Other than, I think Ridley was there a couple of times, which is Central League. But for the most part, you're right. Like Suburban 1 and Chesmont.
Yeah, they've been coming along. Both of them, of course, are outstanding schools as far as that goes when it comes to their leagues and playing football. And of course, we're looking for a great one coming up just minutes from now. Going to be cold out there. You got to get yourself ready for this one. Of course, it's going to be streamed live, so you can watch it as well. If you can't make it to the ball game, you can see this one as well on TV, as we broadcast it to you as well on the internet. And it's going to be a dandy. And this is for the marbles that will send a team into the championship game next week at a neutral site. So the semifinal round ball games will be pitting Coatesville, the top seed, going against a team from their own league in Downingtown East. And of course, we'll also have from the Suburban 1 League National Conference, Pennsbury, a champion there, against the champion of the American Conference in the SOL, and that is Upper Dublin. We're getting set for that one. Let's go out to Falcon Field, and I want to thank Coach Snyder here for doing this show with me. And of course, we hope we're going to have more to bring you along the way and talk about a championship ball game, we hope, next week as well, as this is going to be a dandy coming up between these two ball clubs in the semifinals of the District 1 Quad A football championships. For the Galen Snyder Show, I'm Vince Reed, and we're brought to you, of course, by RA Health, your friends and neighbors here in Bucks County, ready to help you when you are in need. And of course, we want to let you know that, of course, again, you can watch it as well as listen to this one tonight. Let's go out to Falcon Field right now for the ball game, as we have the Pennsbury Falcons playing host to the Cardinals of Upper Dublin.